Welcome to the world, baby boy. I'll paint you red and white and blue. The indoctrination starts as soon as you come out the womb. Pretty quick, we'll make you stupid with curriculums at school. And if the classroom doesn't do the trick, we'll make you watch the news. Pick your team, right or left, take the red pill or the blue. You can vote, but even if you win, still everyone will lose. Don't forget to buy designer because Gucci makes you cool. We prioritize material belongings over truth. Get a job that you can't stand so you can buy some cans of food. Go overseas and die for freedom, there's some oil we can use. Our democracy exists so that you think that you can choose. But our algorithms make you do what we want you to do. What's the
Hello. Welcome, Stars, Susanna, David. How's everybody doing?
Hello,
Right.
everyone. Hello, and welcome.
A brief disclaimer. This stream is for entertainment and educational purposes only, which is stated in the fair use thing. Don't ask me because I know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I can't put it in words.
Right.
But yes, we do discuss conspiracy theories, and I think today is the greatest conspiracy theory of them all, in case y'all cannot tell from that intro video. We will be discussing a certain group. We will either call it a group, a club, or the elites. So please do not use the I word if you can avoid it. That's all I'm asking. Hey, Willow Bug, Demeter, Amur, how are you? I hope y'all doing good.
On a Wednesday. How's everybody's Wednesday?
Right. I got to hold the baby, so I'm good.
Right? We have blue skies here and clouds that look all puffy and real today, so nothing crazy going on.
Oh yeah, I'm just sort of trying to catch up on my canning at the same time. So
M A N C I. That work, David? I tried. It means enlightenment. Enlightenment. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Demeter.
I hope you get better, Demeter. I'll be thinking about you.
Absolutely. We'll give it a few more minutes before we really get into the topic and see if we get some more people in chat.
Ooh, conspiracy theories are fun.
Right?
Right? Like, because there's been like a bunch, and they're not conspiracy theories anymore, though we grew up with them. You know, like UFOs, that was a conspiracy theory our whole life, and now they're like, there's UFOs, and they told us they had congressional hearings on them, and they let us know that, you know, spaceships are real, and they even came out and let us know that they're not even man-made. So all those things that were considered conspiracy theories about that are no longer.
Right. Hey, Ryan, how are you, honey? Good to see you. David, I'm good. I got to hold the almost 7-month-old baby today, so I'm doing good. Stars, Susanna, he asked how y'all were doing, too.
Just a second.
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good, thank you.
I'm here. Right?
We're not 6 feet under, so we're doing good.
Right?
I'm beginning to think Tiger might have went to sleep.
Wow.
Hmm. Just listening. Don't work too hard, right? Oh, I know that for sure, Demeter. Whew. It's catching up on me. I promise you.
Right.
Okay.
But we all know how conspiracy theories go, so we're going to just pick apart, some aspects and some of the symbolism, stuff like that, and try not to get ourselves in trouble. But if we do, we do. Or my channel in trouble. Let me rephrase that. Because I don't want none of us to get in trouble, but the channel gets in trouble, we okay. David, she's not working tonight. She worked last night. We're praying for you too, Demeter. Yeah, but David, some things you just can't fight. Just saying.
Some things are just not worth fighting. It's like, okay, we're just having fun. It's for entertainment. We just talk about it because, some of us research stuff or find stuff out and we just want to gab about it. So it's a conspiracy theory anyway. No big deal.
It's not like it's a, secret or anything.
Right. It's all information you can go research and find it. It's all there. We wouldn't know, right?
Right.
No one sat me down and was like, hey, guess what? There's this conspiracy theory and this is what it, no.
Nope. And I mean, the symbolism's all over the place if you know what to look for. And it isn't only this group that has symbolism. It's every secret society.
Are they really secret if it's a conspiracy? And we kind of know stuff about it. So, way to look at it. And a lot of people don't know that, there's symbolism everywhere we go and with all the stuff that we see. And a lot of people don't know that.
Right. And everywhere we go, people want to know who we are.
Who we are.
So we tell them.
Right. I'm going to run this video one more time. That way y'all can see the symbolism for itself. Some of it. Not all of it is, there's way more symbolism than just what I have in this video. So I'm going to let this roll one more time, guys.
Welcome to the world, baby boy. I'll paint you red and white and blue. The indoctrination starts as soon as you come out the womb. Pretty quick, we'll make you stupid with curriculums at school. And if the classroom doesn't do the trick, we'll make you watch the news. Pick your team, right or left, take the red pill or the blue. You can vote, but even if you win, still everyone will lose. Don't forget to buy designer because Gucci makes you cool. We prioritize material belongings over truth. Get a job that you can't stand so you can buy some cans of food. Go overseas and die for freedom, there's some oil we can use. Our democracy exists so that you think that you can choose. But our algorithms make you do what we want you to do.
Shall we talk about some of the symbolisms that we've seen there?
I think the first thing that we should talk about is some of the history.
Mm-hmm. Let's go for it. Which one of y'all wants to start?
Okay.
Uh,
I thought maybe it would be Stars, but if Stars doesn't want to,
oh, say about. Well, well,
Stars, if you want to, you can start with the article that you read me earlier.
okay. Well, if you look it up, because you're into that kind of conspiracy, if you look it up, if you Google it, it takes you one way, but if you DuckDuckGo it, it takes you back. It'll show you how in May of 1776, in Bavaria, there was a gentleman who wanted to be part of the Freemasons, which are pretty popular. And there was a fee to become a Freemason. And according to what this says, is that he didn't want to do the fee, didn't have the fee, so he started his own organization that included 5 members. And now it's grown into, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands throughout the years. It says that this club has existed since the dawn of time, and that it can be seen on the pyramids, and it's been influenced around the life of, can I say that?
I would say so.
Christ. Yeah. Conspiracy theories, of course. This is how they say it started. It's not really saying how it started. It's really it's alluding to the fact that, since the dawn of time, there's been a club that's existed on our planet. And it was established for a reason in 1776 by a certain group of people. I don't know how to say it,
So by what she's saying, you should get that it's been around for a very long time, even before the club was established.
right.
Because at that time, that's when certain ideas and rules came about for that. So obviously, it goes back way, 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 even before what they're telling us. But you can get those clues by looking by some of the things that we will be saying, as well as looking into it yourselves. So this goes back thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of years. So this goes back to some of the oldest things in time that we know of right now, anyway, that we can go back to.
Absolutely. And an article, well, it was from Wikipedia. I ain't even gonna lie, good old Wikipedia. But when you pull up the page on this club, it gives the definition of the club's word. And then right behind that, it talks about a new order, if you catch my drift there.
I don't know if any of you know this, but there is, like I said, there's going to be a lot. There is a lot in this. There is so much that we probably won't be able to get through what we probably want to today. But if you also look at some of the things that they talk about, and some of the things that I have talked about concerning the Four Corners area and where my ancestors come from, as well as a lot of the information that I had given, um, with regards to the political ties to that area as well. You will also see connections there. And don't forget, I have been saying there have been things that are going on in this across this country where I have been seeing things that have been being planned for certain areas and why some areas are experiencing things that other areas aren't, and how those who live in certain areas or have been paying attention are noticeably seeing some of these things, that have not only that have to do with this, which you will see some of these connections and you will hear about some of those connections. But I mean, there you will see, you may see it. It may take some time because some people do have, um, people go at their own pace. Not everybody will see it right away. And some people will need to delve into this yourselves if you so choose to, and really look into it and find those connections. They're there, but you need to, you can't take everybody's word for it. Like Georgia Peach was saying, Wikipedia. It's one of those things. Anybody can go in there and change certain things,
Right.
switch words around, any of that stuff. It's why we don't really rely on it. But some people will get some information from there, and you're welcome to do that. And then go from there. Do whatever it is you feel, if you so choose to.
Right.
Right. Conspiracy theories are fun. Right. There's
But
lots of
always,
see.
always do your own research. Don't take anyone else's word for it. Look into it. I mean, the symbolism, y'all seen the first picture that popped up on that video. You see that every day. Every day.
And a lot of people, have seen a lot of these symbolisms every day for thousands of years.
Absolutely.
There are 5 basic groups that control or aim toward that this world rule. And these have been things that have been talked about for a very, very, very long time. So we can say one would be financial and the organization of wealth, business, labor, trade, that sort of thing.
Right.
Number 2, we see it every day as well. It's political. All these things are right up in our face. The organization of power, nations. Think about that. Nations. Number 3, the the organization of knowledge. Number 4, occult and religion. Occult and religion are considered all the same. And it's the organization of spiritual power, no matter what religion or occult organization you belong to. And this is why a lot of people fall away from churches and stuff, because they see certain things.
Right.
They see the symbols even in their own churches, and they realize what is happening. And so they do. That's why they're lately, if a lot of you haven't noticed, a lot of people have realized not just the symbolism in those churches, but what is happening what has been happening within those churches, within those occult organizations as well, because just as there is good in the church, there is good in the occult as well. And a lot of people do not understand that if they've never been within it. There is a lot of assumptions on both sides with both parts. Therefore, if you want to look into this, you will have to look into everything. Number 5 would be social arts and culture, which means TV, news, Hollywood, and music. We see it everywhere. It's everywhere in our faces.
Right. Right. And I think that's the biggest one in our country, my opinion, is the propaganda of the TV, the radio, just commercials, your cell phone, what they've got us all doing, things like that. What they want us to pay attention to, what they don't want us to pay attention to. It's on purpose. And I just believe in our country that propaganda is huge. If we didn't have all these posters and billboards and commercials and
Have you all noticed all these things, what they're named, the places we buy from, the big 500 fortune companies like Janus? Do you know who Janus is? If you don't, go look it up. Nike. If you don't know who Nike is, go look it up.
right,
All these things are everywhere. I can tell you that, and I've been saying it for a while, and it is even part of the Four Corners information that I've been doing, the Four Corners series that I was doing on my channel, that has to do with a lot of political things that are happening, and it concerns a lot of certain families. And there are reasons why some places are not and will not experience some of the things that other places are. This also involves other organizations, such as the Druids, the Masons. And let me tell you something about the Masons. The Masons, those mythical Masons, when they used to have a certain function that I used to attend to at the Masonic Lodge here. But it was not Masonic nature. Let's put it that way. At the time, I was I was a crafter. I crafted things and I sold things, and but we were invited. And when my husband, it was actually my husband who was invited, and I asked a question and I said, why this? Why are you asking us? And he said, his words were, because you believe similar to us, and you only need to believe in a Godhead to join. You have to be spiritual. That's it. It doesn't matter what organization you belong to, because remember, there are other sides to this as well.
Absolutely. Amar said DC was designed by Masons. Look into the architect.
you can.
DC is not the only city
Right.
designed by Masons. There are many
Right.
cities that were designed by
Yeah.
them, for them, around them, and not just the Masons. This includes a lot of groups, including the Bilderbergers, those mythical Bilderbergers. And, you have to remember, who are they? They're 500 of the richest families in the world.
Right.
This is why you never get a true whole list of who they They really are. But
Right.
you will look into this and see how some of these people started it and why and where they come from. You have to also go back into their backgrounds as well, because you won't learn it just learning about some of these things. You
Mm-mm.
have to look at some of these individuals as individuals as well, and what they've done, what they've been into, who they are, and where their lines do come from. Yes.
Right. Way back, go back as far as you can because, the dawn of time, there you go. So, and we're talking about it because what's going on right now. And, you know, if you see what's going on right, if you're like the way I see what's going on right now, I feel like, okay, well, there's been plans in the making and they're coming to fruition right now. And, and it all goes together. Once you do your research, you actually realize, a lot of that is the case. That I've
Mhm.
been researching things for many, many years and finding like, oh, and then you see the club out there putting out their own propaganda and you're like, oh, they're revving it up and it's getting crazy and they're putting stuff out there that we would never have seen in a commercial or heard in a lyric or anything, when we were younger. And and it's not because we're older and it's like, oh, we don't want to hear that. It's like, no, I look at it like, okay, look what they're telling us now. They're just showing it all to us. And that's how I look at it. So when someone comes out with a new song and they're showing all this symbolism on the front cover of their, new CD, and then you listen to the lyrics of the words and it's talking about what's going on in the world right now, that's the kind of stuff that makes you go,
Right. And you have to remember, not all of them are directly right into this. Some are how do you say it, like sub branches, being controlled and told that they need to do some of these things, or they won't be a part of whatever it is that they,
right.
how do you say
Supposed
it, they're attached to, their that they want to be a part of. Now, you have to also remember that and this goes back millions of years, all organizations have secrecy vows, initiations, and levels. Um, and what is that? The outer reason given for any organization is to make the human race, without any distinction of nation, condition, or profession, one good and happy family.
right. Right. And you have to
Right.
remember, if this started in the dawn of time, that means supposedly these are generations and generation thousands of generations, they were born into this. This is their life. This is how they, you know what I mean? Like they're born into it.
Yes, they are.
It's part of
And
their
I,
family. It's their life. I mean, it's no different than us getting up every day. They get up every day, and this is their life. They look at us one way, hypothetically, supposedly, and we look at them one way. So but one of them, one of our clubs rules the world, and one of the clubs doesn't. That's the difference.
I know some of you like Huckleberry. I know some of you have been in in my lives where you've listened to some of this, because I speak about it locally, and I've gone to school with some of these people and didn't realize it till later, because obviously it's not anything I was looking for while I was growing up.
Mhm.
Um, so that's where I started realizing, and this is why I started saying, even on my own uh, live, we're a hub here. We're a hub here where I am. And this is a place, there's a reason why I'm surrounded by a lot of them. And I can tell you that they it's a it's an interesting thing to be friends with certain people and not even realize that they're helping you because they know you and they like you. And if they don't care about you at all. I'm just saying that it's one of those interesting things that it doesn't necessarily mean you're in the inner circle either. Because I had no clue who these people were until way later. Um, I was maybe in my early 20s, and I started noticing a lot of things throughout my life as well. So this is not only something that I kind of accidentally figured out what some of this was and who some of these people are. But personally, to be mixed up into some of that is I don't know how to I don't and have never known how to feel about that. It's just one of those it's one of those things where okay. um you also almost feel like as you're growing up in it, like you have a charmed life in a way because there are other things happening to you and around you that you also don't understand until later on when you do get into some of these things. And so this has been going on for a very long time. And when I look back into it, I see an understanding of why some cultures were so highly ruled by for thousands of years without any interruptions. And I see what was happening there. But there was a certain order, and there always has been that certain order there. And I'm wondering if they're looking for that again, but not so much as in a big way, but in a world domination way.
Right. Because there was a time where everything was beautiful. If you go back and look in the history and depending on where even the Egyptian time and the pyramids, everything's so beautiful and glamorous. And, you know, it was that way for a reason because they had world order at that time. And at some point, they lost that. There isn't any. You can have it again. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say stuff because it's all conspiracy theories, hypothetically.
So the main characters of Atlas Shrugged, which is in a book, are code names for individuals or companies. And the code is as follows: John Galt, Philip B. Rothschild, Dagny Taggart, Ayn Rand, Dagny's brother, the Combined Railroad System, John Wyatt, David Rockefeller, Hank Rearden, U.S. Steel, Bethlehem Steel, etc., Francisco de Antonio, Combined Cooper Mines, The Pirate, Sea Piracy, now occurring Galt de Antonio, and The Pirate. Rothschild Tribunal. The tribunal in the book went around convincing certain major corporation presidents of their philosophy and plan, getting them to bankrupt their own businesses. The owners of these companies would then vanish and leave at their Gulf of D'Antonio to a retreat area. Now remember, if any of you have gone to my lives about the Four Corners area, a retreat area in Colorado mountain regions. Colorado is a code name for the Bermuda Triangle, the place where the key figures of the Illuminati, I'm sorry, the
It's all
illuminated
right.
the illuminated ones will be when the world crashes.
Hey,
So,
go ahead, Susanna.
so as these corporations were bankrupting themselves, the tribunal was setting off riots. Think about this. Think what has been happening recently. They were setting off riots, plane and train wrecks, grain bin explosions, inflation, a stock market crash by means of gold price, and other ways of causing panic and more governmental controls.
Exactly.
So, yes,
Do you see it?
think
Right.
about that.
Just right there. Just think of what they're doing right now. How many places have burnt down? How many, with our food? How many processing plants? How many distribution centers? How many major corporations that we've seen our whole lives are gone? They just burnt to the ground one day. We're seeing that. And then we're seeing people being moved geographically all over
Right.
the planet. It doesn't matter here, there, it doesn't matter. We're seeing that too. I mean,
Mhm.
they're repeating this and they're doing it the way right now.
They want a lot of people gone, and they want their headquarters to be in. Does anyone know where they want their headquarters to be?
Down,
Denver.
down the street from you.
They've been saying it for a long time. Jerusalem.
Oh, yeah.
That's where they want their headquarters to be. Think about that. You need to think about these
Right.
things
Why would they want
because
that there?
a lot of people are being tricked. They're being fooled. They have been for thousands of years.
Uh,
Um,
It's true,
there have
all.
been these wars that have been fought. World War I, World War II, World War III. They want to be caused by um, Israel battling over petroleum, farmlands, and chemicals.
right.
Mhm.
Um, their plans for the U.S. make every person totally dependent on the government by number one, creating a pseudo fuel shortage and food shortage. Number two, to confiscate all guns. Number three, calling for helter skelter, which means what? You take everything down with all trucks, trains, planes, and ships. They won't be running anymore except military.
Right. And you see that now also, okay? Just you see that now. You see you see information about the trains and wanting to strike. You see stuff with the truckers. We all watch the trucker stuff, okay? So these things are actually happening right now. Just pointing it out.
Have any of you okay, all this stuff that's been happening in the past few years.
Mhm.
If you know about the Rothschild Tribunal,
Mhm.
an army of certain people that they're supposed to let go. Now think about that. What did they want to do with a lot of prisoners and such? During all this time, what were we hearing and what were we seeing? They wanted to let them out and create mass insanity in the streets. And they wanted them to bomb churches and buildings and, do their murdering, raping and pillaging just like back in the day. History repeats itself. Fear
The Bible.
tactics.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm. And
And
y'all see the comment that Auslander made? Keep an eye on Syria, particularly Damascus. That will be another definitive event as per the timeline. And
right.
that's going on right now.
Right. And this is on purpose as well. The countries that they don't talk about that much in our country, like on our news every day and stuff, they make them seem like the least important countries. Like those are the countries that you need to pay attention to. You know, small Jerusalem, Israel, Afghanistan. Like you have to pay attention to those. They only bring them up when they want us to know what's going on. That's what I was talking about last night. Those countries are waiting on us right now.
Mhm.
They're waiting on us. They know who runs our country, okay? And now they're all waiting. No.
And it's interesting to look at what's been happening with the steel industry, the military, a lot of things, and people have been looking at it and questioning it, and why certain things are happening the way that they are. Take let's see. One of the things I know a lot of people have been talking about is around the 90% of the population that they want to get rid of. And that's just here.
Right.
And that they want to do within a relatively short amount of time. A lot of people aren't talking about where they may be coming from. And that's another thing to be debated as well.
So much.
But they will not come from where people think and are. Some people are scared of some of these countries. It's not going to be who you think. It's where a lot of people. It will be where a lot of people think certain things that they've been conditioned to believe that are good it will come from those places.
Mhm.
Right.
Another a conspiracy theory, of course, educational purposes. But one way that you could look at the infiltration they talk about on mainstream and all the people that are coming to visit on a daily basis by droves, planes, just coming on in and make such a fuss about it. Well, um, you know, hypothetically, if you wanted to depopulate the planet and you wanted to take a lot of people out at one time, then wouldn't you send a whole bunch of people to one spot
Right?
and then um, you would do that however you believe that's going to go down. But that's one way to look at it. I mean, they make such a fuss about it, and it's so ramped up, but it's another way to look at it. I mean, depopulation is part of the goal, supposedly. So, the more the merrier kind of thing. Get as many here as you can. We're the last country to get messed with. I mean, you've got to really go look and see what's going on in these other countries and what they're already going through, and they're already destroyed. They're gone. You can go look at maps. You can go see where just a couple years ago there were all kinds of little tiny countries out there that were populated, and they're gone. You can't even see them on the maps anymore. Things like that. It's like mainstream's not going to tell us this stuff every night on the news. That's why we don't watch it. So you end up finding out this stuff, and it's like a daily thing. But it's another way to look at it. If you look at them all coming here because they want to get rid of them too.
Hmm. And well, yes. I was just looking at that comment she had up from Auslander. But yeah, if people were also paying attention to that, um, part of that comment there, if you were also paying attention to what was being put into uh, something that was given to a lot of people recently, there were certain things in there, remember, that had a pull to magnetism. Um, And one of the things that I knew to be true, because let's just say it involved my daughter, and it wasn't her directly, but somebody she knew. And so that's how I knew it was true. And so when you think about some of these things that are being given are going to be used at some point to help the process speed up of what's to come. So we will be getting into the symbolism here pretty quickly, but you have to remember, what is the power of a lot of these people? What do they deal with all the time? And some of the heads of these places, it all has to do with money. And
Yep.
So that's another place, obviously, we are going to see, and I'm pretty sure some of these lovely ladies up here will show what you can find on some of these things. Some of these people, and a lot of people think they're all good. There's a reason why, if you look at these families, you will see the good and why the good were taken out, and that they're not all good. Some of them were very awful in what they believed and in their plan making, because a lot of these families include the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Kennedys, the Onassis, the Fords, the Roosevelts, people like that. Even other people you wouldn't think of, such as the Wolves. There are a lot of branch families out there who are. There are a lot of people. Some people think that all families send their children to only elitist schools. They don't. I'm here to tell you that they don't, because I went to some of them. Some of them are in hiding for a reason and a purpose. And I see that happening. I see what is happening with that. When you grow up in some of that and not realize it until later, and it sort of smacks you in the ass and the face. Like I said, it's one of those things you don't know how to feel about it, because you have made friends with some of these people. And there's a there's a struggle even within yourself as to what to believe, what not to believe. I mean, you go through a lot of those emotions. It's just like anything else. You know, when someone dies, or when something dies within you, so to say, you still, it doesn't matter whether it's physical or spiritual, you go through those emotions.
Right. When you find out what's really going on, it's you literally, well, I guess that would be it. Yeah, it's devastating, and then you get mad, and then you feel sick, and then you want to do something about it, and you can't. All based on conspiracy theories. However,
Right.
it's still in our face, and if you know, you know, and so that's the struggle that I've always had with any of these conspiracy theories and any of the stuff going on and who's running the world, is that I can't do anything about it. And it's so difficult to know or feel like I know at this point. I know this something's going to happen, or this is going to go down, or whatever. And all I can do is prep, and I can't fix any of it. I can't do anything about it. I just take it as I'm supposed to know this stuff. There's a reason. And then we can sit around and talk about it because we're living it.
Right.
And
And I'm
yeah,
go ahead, Sis.
no, I'm
Go
good.
ahead. No.
Mm-mm.
I was just going to say, Auslander's dropping some truth bombs in chat.
I know. I've been reading them. I know. It's awesome.
And, you know, my mom, she's a very wise woman. And she's labeled a conspiracy nut. I guess that's where I get mine from. But anyway, besides the point, you know, she done research, you know, like you would not imagine. Anything from religion to the topic we're talking about today. You know, but if you look back and you'll realize just about everything starts out as a conspiracy theory.
Right.
You know,
And it wasn't
Go ahead.
always called a conspiracy theory either. Look up when stuff started becoming a conspiracy theory. It really wasn't that long ago.
Right.
In our lifetime. In my
Mhm.
lifetime. Right. So I think I believe that's on purpose. So my generation would grow up and they would have it in our face. And then we question ourselves, like, is that real? Is that, you know what I mean? The whole time. But some of us are different. I feel like I'm one of those people. I've just always known. I've always known. And so that's what's made me, you know, look into all of it, and it's all connected. And you know, the groups, of course, they control they control everything. They control, you know, the religion, the three-letter agencies, like everything that we go through.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so you have to look at what some of these things as well that have to do with the world, because it affects the world.
right.
And so the world common market, who are they?
Yeah.
They determine the trade value of the world. There are various major corporations of here, which will bankrupt themselves later, and we've seen this happen. And they aid in crushing the economy and the lifestyles of every government dependent person in America. So what is why did a lot of people not like the FRS or the Federal Reserve System? Because what did they do?
They abuse power.
They printed their own money and backed it with
Mhm.
their own power of supply. So the American debt would soon vanish. The illegal tax system would vanish, and inflation would cease if they would do away with that. And of course, again, that's not what they want.
Right. It's never been for the people, but the people, we're not, you know, we're not trained that way. We're always to believe that it's for the people and for the country, but really it's for them, for the planet. And so if you look at it like Susanna said, it's the planet. I don't ever look at it like our country unless it matters right where I'm living and what I'm paying attention to. I always think I'm like the planet. That's how I look at it because, you know, it's hard to sometimes step outside of the box and bubble that you're in and realize that the people that they say run our country don't run the planet. We don't make all the decisions for them. Somebody's in charge of them.
Right, and so the government has changed the value of the dollar by decreasing the reserve backing in order to pay off debts. The American government borrows money from the Federal Reserve which prints its own money, which in turn is an illegal act according to the Constitution, which states that only Congress can issue money. Now, the Fed charges high interest to the government while being backed by savings bonds. The American government's debt is so large that the taxes of the people cannot pay even the interests of the Fed, much less the principal. In exchange for this, the international bankers are given the right to have members of its choice in high government positions.
Yeah.
So did we want to maybe I don't know if you have pictures, Peach, of any of this, but I was thinking maybe since we were talking about this, going on to something like the dollar bill.
Yeah. We could go ahead on to it. I ain't got no pictures of it.
Okay.
I mean, other than the
So-
symbolism that I had in the video, that was it.
Okay. So a lot of people know the dollar bill, of course.
Hmm.
If you have one, take it out. Look at it. On the back of our $1 bill, on the left-hand side, you can see a reverse seal of the U.S. The U.S. has, however, never sealed anything with this seal, nor ever intends to. The seal is in reality probably a secret code of some kind.
Hmm.
And now created by, again, going back to Adam Weishaupt, this seal was first put on the dollar bill in 1933 by FDR. With the Rothschild Tribunal capstone and the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. The pyramid is the formation of their organization. Nervus Ordo Seclorum means what? And we all know this. New World Order. Many of us know this because it's been in a lot of places, it's in documentaries, it's out there. Or also known as One World Government.
Right. Say that again. Say that again. Okay, people, do you understand that? It's on our money. They say it that way. It means New World Order. And what are they doing right now? They are putting that out there in our face now. They are saying it out loud. The government's saying it. Other countries are talking about it. They get in their little groups and conferences, and it's New World Order, New World Order.
Novus Ordo Seclorum. Now, Annuit Coeptis means our enterprise, parentheses, conspiracy, has been crowned with success. In 1776, in Roman numerals, means May 1st, 1776, the birthday of American Illuminism, not July 4th, 1776.
Exactly.
The 13 stars from the Star of David, the powerful hexagram of witchcraft symbolism. On the U.S. coins, In God We Trust never meant Jesus Christ, but the occult's Lucifer. The dollar sign is John Gates' symbol found in ancient pyramids, meaning to scourge, to punish, or to make right. And the dollar sign was formed by overlapping the initials for United States. So it needs to be understood that although the above explains the evil significance and symbolism of the code, that God Almighty, or Yahweh, not Satan, is all-powerful and has seen to it that the seals also contains truth for and about Israel. And then you come to the fall of the American dollar. The gold certificate, remember the gold certificate representing actual gold coin on deposit in the treasury, was as sound as paper money could get. The integrity of the U.S. stood behind it, and we've not been the same since. The U.S. note is commonly referred to as what? The Lincoln Greenback. When Lincoln rebelled at paying the international bankers high interest rates to borrow money with which to pursue war, these were used. Not 1 cent of interest has ever been paid for their issuance.
Right. Right. No, I don't. I want to interrupt because I'll forget. So I'm sorry. Love me. Okay. Remember how you said the 13 stars on the coin,
Mhm.
and they symbolize what? And that symbolizes.
Um, the 13 stars form the Star of David, the powerful hexagram of witchcraft symbolism.
Okay. So the original, the original flag had 13 stars. The original colonies, there were 13. I just wanted to throw that out there. That's also symbolism, but it was on our flag, and the 13 colonies, and there's a lot of things that are like that that people don't see. But that was our original flag. I'm
Right?
sorry, Susanna. I was gonna forget if
No,
I.
that's fine. No,
So
that's fine.
sorry,
No,
but yeah,
that's
people
fine.
don't know that.
Because you caught it, right there. So
Right.
that's fine. And let's see. So now we go from gold to the pledge on the face of the silver certificate, guaranteed itself of being redeemable in silver. The government has not only reneged on this, but there is also neither gold nor silver to back the dollar with. This bill states a redeemable in gold on demand at the U.S. Treasury or in gold or lawful money at the Federal Reserve Bank. So when the Federal Reserve note was first issued, it clearly stipulated that it was redeemable in gold on demand at any federal bank. By 1932, this was no longer true. But the seed had been planted, and Americans accepted the notes, and we have never recovered from this either. There is another note, and this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the U.S. Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. For many years, the public accepted the federal note as though it were real money only because the note clearly said it was redeemable in lawful money at the Treasury at any bank. The U.S. has now reached the final step, and we do not have a gold certificate, silver certificate, federal note that are redeemable or anything to back it. And so, $10 bill.
Right.
This note is legal tender for all debts, public or private, right? The citizen has no choice but to accept. The Fed has systematically looted the Treasury to the point that all we have is an unpayable debt.
Right.
Now you see what they have done, to us.
Exactly. This entire time,
Right.
and now what are they doing? Everything's changing. Got another shift coming. They're gonna do it again. Start over again. What are they talking about? All over the planet. Money, gold, crypto. I don't care what you call it. Everybody's got a there's something, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't what group you hang out in, whatever. There's somebody's talking about money, and it's the whole planet. It's not just our country. Okay, like here, they're doing with the everybody gets a lot of money and wages and things like that. And other countries, they are changing the money already, and they've already taken. I don't want to say they've already started the process in other countries. It just hasn't happened here yet, but they're getting us ready, and they're showing that every day.
This also includes another group called the Council on Foreign Relations. Do you remember when that was formed in 1921 under Colonel Edward Mandell House with J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, Paul Warburg, and Jacob Schiff? Think about those names. And there are documentaries on this as well. And if you noticed, a lot of these documentaries and stuff that used to be just out there and you would be able to find them easily are a little harder to find now. But they're still there if you look.
Another that's popped in my head, but another thing that people don't know is that you have like J.P. Morgan, and then you think, oh, J.P. Morgan, it stands for this, but they don't know that J.P. Morgan also owns 700 other 700 other companies. They're just called something different, and somebody's running them, but they own them. And so, you know, it's a lot smaller group of people that are really running the entire thing, because, you know, one company will own. I don't know if am I saying that right? It just shows how, you know, how one company, you know, owns so much in one thing and another, and it all goes back to the same names that have been running the planet the whole time. They all own it. They own everything.
Now think about this, the American government section. The Democrats, the GOP, the UN, the FBI, the CIA, the OSI, etc. Most presidents, if not all, since FDR, have been a CFR member. Again, Council on Foreign Relations. Large arguments in Congress are cover-ups, as we have seen, those of us who have ears to hear and eyes to see, for passing major bills. For example, the Korean Congressman scandal cover-up passing of the Anti-Hoarding Act. There has been an Anti-Hoarding Act for quite a while. You are a felon if you own more than 30 days supply of food.
Think
Richard
about that
Nixon. Think about that. Richard Nixon set up with Watergate. Do you remember that? Nixon was going against who? He was going against their plans by opening communications with who we like to call the Red Dragon. Now, the Rothschilds' national enemies, who are slated for what? Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think created the United Nations? What is the United Nations goal? To bring about a one world government and religious system. When?
Yes.
In 1942, after Pearl Harbor.
Right. One world government does not mean the United States. It means the planet. It's financial.
Exactly.
It's financial. It's religion. It's all of it. That's the goal. So the end goal would be, this is the religion you will like, choose. What? Right. This is like, that's how I see it. You know, this is how you're going to do this, and this is how you're going to do that. And, you know, total control.
Now think about this. The FBI ordered Colt Firearms to stop shipping arms to South California because so many people were buying them. Smith & Wesson and Winchester, there's a reason why they are purposely built for some of them to be defective since 1964.
Mm-hmm.
From 1973 to 78, half of the small arm weapons of the U.S. military have been lost. Espionage in U.S. post offices is done by experts who can open and reclose mail without suspicion. Have any of you gotten mail and you freaking knew it was opened and then reclosed again? There are a lot of people who've talked about this, but it's not on a scale to where most people even realize it's happening or knew it was happening. This organization financed Panic of 1907, World War I and II, the Depression, and the Korean Wars for every side. Now let's take because all this ties in with this same organization,
Right.
the Communist Party.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as communism. The idea of it was created by Albert Pike, and I know some of you know who Albert Pike is or was as a front for war. Nathan Rothschild gave 2 checks to Karl Marx for aid. The Russian Revolution was financed by American bankers in New York. Russia today is headed by the Council of 33.
Right. They all helped each other. They all helped each other do it. Propaganda it out the narrative they wanted their country and spot where they lived to know. How is that any different than what they're doing right now? They're telling us one thing about whatever's going on over there with certain countries, and then those countries are telling their people certain stuff. It's no different. It's the same thing being repeated right now. That
Right.
is
Now, does anyone know anything about the JBS, founded by Robert Welch? Do you know who Robert Welch was? Robert Welch was a Mormon and a 33rd level Mason. The JBS will write against the international bankers, CFR, Rockefeller, Kennedy, etc., but will never come against the Rothschilds or tie the I-ones to the occult. JBS is only a front to take pressure off the I-ones. Now, let's go back to what the Illuminati or illuminated ones meant, because what are they also tied to? The illuminated ones, the shining ones, goes back to UFO ufology. It also goes back to the shining ones or the illuminated ones in the Bible. It goes back pretty far, pretty far. There is a lot there that is linked. And one gets its source from the other, but we are told, don't look here because you don't need that. That's wrong. Don't look over there because you don't need that. That's wrong. We're right. We're right. We're the ones who are right. It's kind of like looking at old letters. If you've ever studied Roman history and really studied it, you can look at somebody like Josephus. What did Josephus do? Josephus is sort of hailed by certain people on certain sides. What a lot of people did not see or refuse to talk about or even look at sometimes is that he wrote 2 books on purpose. He wrote 2 books for 2 separate religions on purpose. And there are a lot of people who do not even know that he did that. They don't know that. They look at one and think it's true or think it's real and don't realize that there are 2 separate
Right.
realities written by this person for two separate peoples. One for the Christians, one for the Jews. There are reasons why things were happening even politically back then. There are
Right.
people who have a highly developed network of these organizations through which they organize total control over all peoples of the world, especially specific peoples, which are two of them that I was just talking about. Some are more well known, just like the two I was talking about.
Mhm.
Um, so there is a reason. If you look at what has happened in history and what certain peoples did during wars, times of wars, why they wanted to get where they wanted, why they did what they did in history, then you will understand what some of the things that are happening and why these organizations are so huge and how they got here now.
And why they're repeating. And another thing too, you can go back in our history books, like even from when we were in school, it's in there. They let us know this stuff. If you go back and look, you will see how every time there was a war, a major war, civil war, world wars, there was a disease outbreak so bad that it wiped out so many people. It made people sick, and people had to get things to make themselves feel better. You go back and you can see it happened every time. And again, they're repeating that right now and in the last couple years. But it's just the correlation of Susanna says something. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, and it correlates to now. But she's talking about stuff that's been in the history books. People have written books. It's been there. But everything that she's saying now, it's everything that she's talking about from, the past, it's happening right now. It's just happening
Mhm.
different because it's the United States. We're not in another country, or it's a different period in time, but it's the same thing. But
Right.
go back and look, you'll see that there was a a killer disease outbreak that took out and wiped out a lot of people every time, right before or during a war.
Yes, there are reasons why they want to take history out of your children's curriculum.
Mhm.
They do not want people learning about they do not want the new generations learning because of what is happening now. There is a reason why a lot of people have hypothesized that this has happened many times in the past, where we've had so-called amnesia and then have to relearn certain things over again. There are also reasons why, if you look at what's happening during some of these wars, have you noticed a lot of these archaeological sites, a lot of these things are being destroyed and defaced because they don't want you to know
Right,
what has happened. No
right,
matter what that is, for some reason, they do not want you to know it.
right. And that's another thing too. Pops in my head. I'm like, see, there's a correlation. They're getting rid of the stuff that's been in our head, that's been around our entire lifetimes, taking this down, taking this down. But at the same time, they're unearthing all these things that nobody's seen in hundreds of years, thousands of years, and even longer than that. And it's like, what? Has anyone noticed that? How much they're
Mhm.
taking down for everything they're taking down all over the planet, not just our country. It's not just our statues, it's a bunch of different stuff. or it burnt down, or it blew up, or a landslide took it out. But then at the same time, they're unearthing statues and things that are coming out of the water, and second Stonehenges and parts of pyramids and things like that. And I just feel like it all correlates. They want to get rid of one thing, and then there's going to be a different history written other than what we're actually living. And most of us even see on a daily basis.
And what Tiger was saying as well. She said, problem is that people have normalcy bias and don't want to believe that things won't go back to normal. I've seen that I've seen both of those happening. I see it, both of that happening on either side.
Mhm.
I see people who don't believe that it will. I see people who believe that it will. And so I'm seeing it on both sides of the coin there.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's sad, and we're living that. We're seeing it. We all go through our days where I do. So personally, I'll go through days where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm sad all day. And it's because I know stuff, and I see stuff. And then, I see people just living their life like normal, whether they know stuff or not. It's just, at this point, I just feel like you're either supposed to or you're not supposed to. Because some people just, I don't think they could handle it. You do this stuff for years, you can handle it now. There's nothing that's going to shock me. Nothing that's going
Right.
to surprise me. But it's so hard to people are losing faith in what they believe. There's people that are gaining faith they didn't know they had. And then there's people that are just, I don't care. Like, I just let things happen where they do. And then the people that are, I know. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. He's so cute.
No, you're fine. He's fine.
No.
Oh no, I don't want to be serious for a sec. Cause are you good? Oh, he's learning to play with the big dog, so it's so funny. He tries to defend himself with his bark. It's super cute. But that was good. I didn't want to talk about that anymore anyway. It's okay.
So
It was last year they had an event in Houston, Texas. You remember, there was all kinds of accusations going around that it was a ritualistic.
Right. There was a music festival and somebody passed away. And then once it was investigated and looked at, there were things set up there that didn't look quite right. And a lot of people complained that were there of certain physical effects they were having that were strange and things like that. Conspiracy theory, of course, all these things that they say about it. But some believe those types of things are rituals. And, there's something to be said in their community of people. They like to get their karma out. Karma is really important. I know I'm not going to say this right, but part of being in that club, you have to tell people what you're doing. You have to show them. And but for some reason, it's out there way more than it used to be. If you go back and you look at award shows and things like that from when we were growing up, you'll see stuff like that if you look at it real close. But then as you go through the years, you'll see how they really ramped it up and they put it all out there. And you're watching a country music award show, and the next thing you know, there's like some kind of dance going on in the middle of the stage. There's snakes and everybody's covered with blood, and it's a country music award show. So symbolism, because we're talking about that, and that music festival, But now, they led up to like, now it's a big thing in a music festival. And if you go back and at that festival, you'll see it's right. They're putting it all right there in our face.
Absolutely. How you doing, Miss Tiger?
Hello,
Um,
Tiger.
I was doing awesome. I fell asleep on the concrete porch waiting for this to start.
Oh, wow.
And Chris said he tried to wake me up 3 times and I just didn't. I was so tired, I guess. So, yeah. Sorry I'm late.
You're good.
So in
I didn't come up
1950,
earlier because Susanna is spitting out so much knowledge. I'm like, damn, she's on a roll and I don't even know all that.
Right?
That's the reason why I've just sat back and I've let her and Stars, go. I'm sitting here enjoying the hell out of this.
Like I know nothing.
Them and the chat is dropping nothing but truth bombs.
Right? Oz is on target for real.
Absolutely.
so one of
But
the
go ahead. Go ahead,
books
Susan.
in 1957, Ayn Rand wrote a book
Mhm.
under the direction of Philip E. Rothschild, an 1,100-page fictional quote novel. So that became a book for a certain people's plan for the world. So there are certain places which I marked. On page 323, for example, and up, don't argue, accept, adjust yourself, obey. Page 411 and up, for example, the only power any government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well, when there aren't enough criminals, one makes them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. Page 503, freedom has been given a chance and has failed. Therefore, more stringent controls are necessary. Since men are unable and unwilling to solve their problems voluntarily, they must be forced to do it.
Yep. And
Page
that's what they're doing
514.
now.
Page
Yep.
514. There is no way to disarm any man except through guilt, through that which he himself has accepted as guilt. If a man has ever stolen a dime, you can impose on him the punishment intended for a bank robber, and he will take it. He'll bear any form of misery. He'll feel that he deserves no better. If there's not enough guilt in the world, we must create it. If we teach a man that it's evil to look at spring flowers, and he believes us and then does it, we'll be able to do whatever we please with him. He won't defend himself. He won't feel he is worth it. He will not fight. But save us from the man who lives up to his own standards. Save us from the man of clean conscience. He's the man who will beat us. Page 566. Fear is the only practical means to deal with people.
Jasmine.
That's right.
Page
Sorry.
585. Who are you to stand against the government? Who can make war with the beast? Revelation 13:5.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're doing now.
Right, page 617. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto. Page 637. The dollar sign. It stands on the vest of every fat, pig-like figure in every cartoon, for the purpose of denoting a crook, a grafter, a scoundrel, as the one surefire brand of evil. It stands as the money of a free country, for achievement, for success, for ability, for man's creative power, and precisely for those reasons, it is used as a brand of infamy It stands stamped on the forehead of men as a mark of damnation. It
Yeah.
stands for the initials of the U.S. The
Damn,
U.S.
I
is the
heard that.
only country in history that has ever used its own monogram as a symbol of depravity. Ask yourself, why? Ask yourself how long a country that did that could hope to exist and whose moral standards have destroyed it. It was the only country in history where wealth was not acquired by looting, but by production, not by force, but by trade. The only country whose money was the symbol of man's right to his mind, his work, to his life, and to his happiness, and to himself. If this evil by the present standards of the world, if this is the reason for damning us, then we, the dollar chasers and makers, accept it and choose to be damned by the world. We choose to wear the sign of the dollar on our foreheads proudly as our badge of nobility, the badge we are willing to live for and, if need be, to die for. Could this be the mark of the beast in Revelation 13:16? I don't know. You tell me. Page 696. We started with no time in view. We did not know whether we'd live to see the liberation of the world or whether we'd have to leave our battle and our secret to the next generations. We knew only that this was the only way we cared to live. But now we think that we will see and soon the day of our victory and of our return, when the code of the looters has collapsed, when the creed of self-immolation has run for once its undisguised course, when men find no victims ready to obstruct the path of justice and to reflect the fall of retribution of themselves, when the preachers of self-sacrifice discover that those who are willing to practice it have nothing to sacrifice, and those who have are not willing any longer. When men see that neither their hearts nor their muscles can save them, but the mind they damned is not there to answer their screams for help, when they collapse as they must, as men without mind must, when they have no pretense of authority left, no remnant of law, no trace of morality, no hope, no food, and no way to obtain it, when they collapse and the road is then clear, then we'll come back to rebuild the world. And that is the basic vision of Rothschilds and the others.
Hmm.
I've heard that before. Like, I know I have, or I've read it, because it just sounds way too familiar.
I mean, it's like they're talking about down in chat, and you'll always hear me support chat. Always. Y'all know this as good as I do. Cowboy, Miss Loretta, and Auslander, y'all are contributing so much. I was hesitant about today's live, I'm not going to lie. But like I said, it's something that I've always enjoyed researching. And a lot of it, the way I look at it, it does kind of parallel stuff within the Bible.
It all goes together. If now I personally had to like look at the Bible like a guide instead of like the Bible, it's really hard to do. But if you look at it like a guide,
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's meant to be.
I mean, it gets you right to here, right now, what's going on with it. It's got you right here. I mean, even that showing you,
Okay, think about this. This is one of the things that they believe, and others believe as well. Well, there are quite a few things surrounding this. I'm trying not to go too deep into it, but there is so much, and because this borders as well on Druidism, witchcraft, Luciferianism, they're all different. They are not the same.
Right.
Witchcraft belief is that of the mortals or man, which was some believe descended from apes, and some believe that the witches came from the son of the creator of the god system, who brought them to Earth in flying saucers. And that's why they called them witches. It wasn't brooms that they were alluding to way back then. They had other means of flying, and that's why they were associated with flying.
Right.
Um, and they were also known as the little people, elves, nymphs, leprechauns, etc. Um,
Right.
these are also who supposedly, and a lot of people don't know this part as well, but if you've ever gotten into it, they are also the people, because they were the little people. They were the ones who had sex with mortal men, and their offspring then grew normal size, which a lot of people would call the giants.
Mm-hmm.
The son of the creator, they believe, is Lucifer, who is also Adam. He is equivalent to Adam. Eve is the mother of creation and was and is his wife. There are people, if you don't know, because this all ties into them as well, and I know you have seen the pictures of them. There are a lot of people who have seen the pictures of them in their ceremonies. Darn it, Peach, I was hoping you would have some of these. um, so there are people who believe that even Adam is alive today, and that Abaddon, who is talked about in Revelations 9:11, is Jesus Christ. There are reasons why a lot of things around the world that a lot of people don't think of as being bad. Some people deem as bad for their own reasons, such as, some people don't practice yoga for that reason, because they will tap into things with while they're doing that. It's another form of meditation. Prayer is a form of meditation. What do you call that? Have it on the tip of my tongue. Affirmations, same thing. It's a form of prayer. It's a form of meditation. It's all
Yep.
the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Hypnotism is endorsed and well known. Fortune telling. There's a lot of things like that go on in this world, and there are witches who do not trust the Ouija board, so they use a pendulum. And I know this because personal experience. I know this
Right.
because I've been inside of all of this when I was studying religions. Three things that are considered powerful in some of this is herbs, astrology, and jewelry.
Yep.
Jewelry has been heavily pushed even in the Christian world, and you do not know what even you are wearing most oftentimes.
That's
And they,
true. And even because, listen, people wear crosses.
Mm-hmm.
They wear like a St. Christopher medal. That is all idolatry. Anyway, I mean, as explained in the Bible, I'm just saying. So, and so is money. Money is idolatry.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that have to, like, of course, I'm going to say some of these things, and some, it will go against what some people believe, because if you look and read some of these things, and it doesn't matter whose Bible you look at or whose book you look at, however you want to say it or call it, some of these people, I'm sorry, but you have to look at them and say, this makes no sense about what was happening. Why were they being chosen? Why was this happening? And there are a lot of excuses for some of these things. But for many, many years, we'll take, for example, which is again, they consider Solomon the greatest wizard. What did he do? People know what he did, yet they consider him holy. He was a wizard or a male witch of his time. And it's
Yep.
said, and he was said to have written the Kabbalah himself as well, the Lesser Keys of
Solomon's
Solomon,
Key.
right, and the Major Keys of Solomon. So there's that. People don't want to see that, and a lot of people don't want to look at it, but it's there right up in front of your face. And not that it's right or wrong, but there's a reason why a lot of people look at these things as history.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now the Kabbalah, a lot of people do not understand as well, is known as the sixth book of Moses.
Yep.
And it was reportedly written by Solomon. And this book is based on numerology.
Yep.
Um,
My God, now you're in my language.
right. So, and that's just like the first major book of occult. There are others. Let's just take the first 5. So that would be the Kabbalah, the Book of Shadows, the Necronomicon, and then you get the Lesser and the Major Keys of Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? They tell, what did Solomon do? He had a ring, right? And all these books tell how to control demons and to cast spells, and that's exactly what Solomon did.
Yeah.
Did
Miss
you have
Loretta said, I say we need to go back to 1776 Constitution and start over and get rid of the cabal.
Well, we definitely need to go back to that Constitution, but the thing is, the people today won't follow it. And as far as idolatry is concerned, I 100% agree with you. The Bible says anything that man worships other than God is idolatry.
Let me say this. Have you ever noticed that there are people of many different religions who get there, they become reverends, rabbis, preachers, priests. They become all these things. And there are certain ones that go along with what's happening, and there are other ones that get furious and they get out of it. And when they're asked why, they will not say. You want to know why? One of the biggest reasons why is because if they tell you what they knew, they would, and no, it's not, then you would have to be killed. It's nothing like that. Because I know what some of you out there are thinking.
Kill you.
Right? It's not what some of you are thinking. It's more like they will not be believed.
Right.
And people are so heavily into their beliefs that they will be blinded by what the truth is and what is in front of them. And they know this.
Right.
They
And they'll
know
keep
this and they use it against us.
Right. And then some keep it to themselves because it's no different than us.
Well, think about this. Think about what happened recently with the jab and why people were not saying things, whereas others were. Who was being persecuted for it? who
Hmm.
people were saying one thing, but yet were not following their own, what they were believing and what they were saying.
Right.
They were
Well, it's
following
just like
something totally
Nazi
different.
Germany. It is just
Right.
like, I'm sorry if I shouldn't have said that, but
No.
they totally demonized and demoralized and dehumanized Jewish religion, so the people were okay with the idea that they needed to be wiped off the face of the earth. And that's what they do.
Hmm.
Right. They were able to manipulate an entire group of
Entire
people
civilization,
like
an
that.
entire
Right.
generation.
that. So what are they
Exactly.
doing now? They're doing the same thing now. They just do it different.
Exactly.
Propaganda and your cell phones and all that
Yep.
stuff.
The thing is, people need a scapegoat. When things are going wrong, they need a scapegoat, and the government is more than willing to give you one.
I imagine.
Hey,
But
Shad, how you doing?
I want to come back to this comment right here that Miss Loretta said. The Pope is a demon. Miss Loretta, I could not agree with you more if I tried. I have said for as long as I can remember that he will be the right hand of the AC, the anti one.
Yeah, I figured that's what you meant.
I think I don't think the Pope is a demon personally myself, but I think uh he is not a good person.
Right.
Right.
I
There
agree.
there is a reason why there are people, both Christian and Catholic, who are divided against, uh, for and against that as well. There is a huge division there. A lot of people, I do not understand why they don't see that, but it's there. There is a huge division there.
Right. Listen, if you follow the Bible, and I don't care what religion you are, if you follow most religions book of faith, I'm going to put it that way, it don't tell you how to, well, except for never mind. um it tells you how to be decent and caring to your fellow people, but most religions don't preach that anymore. It's not about that. It's about
Right.
how much money are you going to put in my collection plate so that we can get bigger and I can get richer. And that's why I said money is idolatry. I mean,
Hmm.
look at people who, like, all they want. You go out and rob a bank because you friggin' want some money because you need money.
Hmm.
That's worship, guys. That is worship.
And I do want to clear something up real quick. And I don't mean no disrespect to anybody by speaking about the Pope, because I don't know the man personally, and I do not believe that Catholics are evil people by no
I hope
means.
not.
Because you have good and evil in every group. It don't matter what kind it is. I remember someone in chat. I'm not gonna call no names, but I remember a conversation with someone in chat and another YouTube creator, while back, and I wanted to make sure that that person in chat realizes that I didn't mean any disrespect by that.
Right. Well, I don't think that I truly believe that I don't know how to word this. Religions as a whole are not of God. And if you
Right.
read the Bible, it says where 2 or 3 of you gather, that's a church. It doesn't tell you to go to church, dress in your finest, flash your money, give. I mean, it tells you to tithe. It doesn't say that's got to be money, though.
Right.
And I think, to me, religion is a man-made concept. Hence the Catholic Church. And I was raised Catholic, so I'm not dogging on them. My grandparents, my family was raised Catholic. But religion as a whole is a man-made thing. Man has twisted stuff so to suit their own ends, their own means. So you can't just. I mean, I'm not saying one thing or another about the Pope. Okay, like Georgia said, I don't know the man personally. I don't follow the Catholic Church anymore, but I don't believe you need an organized religion to be a follower of Christ.
And if you actually looked at a lot of those books, there is some things in there that are not. There are reasons why each one go against the other, and you cannot say you believe in your religion and then deny it. So if you're of a certain religion and you try to deny it, then you then cannot be that religion.
Exactly.
You have to wholeheartedly accept everything within that religion,
100%.
including
Otherwise,
right,
just like you said, you're denying it.
right,
You're either all in or all out.
exactly. And you will see that in all those books. You will
Mhm.
see those things in all those books.
Yes, and the problem with man-made religions is that they are man-made, and not necessarily man is a male term. People-made, and people
Right.
are fallible, and they are greedy, and they want their way, and they want power. So,
Absolutely. Stars, you there?
I'm here. I've just
You
been
got all quiet.
see, I
no,
came up with Stars shut up. Now I'm starting to think she doesn't like me anymore.
what?
First she's all hating on me last night,
Oh wow.
and now she's just shutting up and ignoring me.
Oh wow. I don't even have a comment. No.
Oh, you do.
But you know, before I forget it, I'd
Right.
like to give an invitation to Auslander's info. Auslander, I would love to have you on panel with me one day, and
Hell
us,
yes.
us go into discussion, about the different aspects of the Christian religion.
Oh.
Because
Oh my
you
God,
have
I know all about what he's saying right there with the Lutherans or Protestants and
Mhm.
the Eastern Orthodox Roman Church. Yep.
Exactly. Because just like when I was, into all of that, and part of that is because I attended Catholic school, I attended Lutheran school. I
Me
had
too.
friends, right? And I had friends who had fathers who were preachers and whatnot of other religions as well.
Yep, me
And I
too.
would, right? And people really misunderstand how that all works. There are a lot of people out there who falsely think that all Catholics go to Catholic school and no other,
No.
no other denomination goes there, and all Lutherans go to Lutheran school and no other denomination. They don't understand that it's not that way at all. And there are different religions and faiths that they all go within those different schools.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. You
But
only kind of know what's in your bubble and what you were taught as a kid or what you got into as an adult. So you kind of stick with most people have a religion and they just stick with it. They don't question it, nor would they go research it. Most people
And
don't
that's what they
do that.
should do.
Right,
Listen, my
but
mom's
they're not
family was
taught
all
to.
Catholic. My dad's family was all Episcopalian, which are they are very similar, but they're also different. So, and I ended up being neither. So, I
right.
mean, a Catholic or an Episcopalian church would probably burn to the ground if I walked in the doors. I'm just saying.
I'm like,
and it's not because I don't believe in Jesus Christ or God. It's that I don't believe in organized religion. I mean, look at it this way. And I'm probably going to tick us off, and I don't mean to. So I'm sorry in advance, even though I'm not sorry for what I'm about to say. The Catholic Church is the richest organization on the planet of this earth,
Yes.
yet they help very few.
Okay,
And that's what I'm saying about people.
I'm gonna speak up
People
right
are
here because I beg to differ with that.
okay.
Only because I think because of the alignment with the Jews and the Jewish church.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. I can't talk about Jewish church because I don't know anything about it. So
And it's really not a church. But I
I
kind of
know what you mean, the Jewish religion.
Right. Well, see, my family has always been Southern Baptist. Now before my grandpa died, he was going to a local Catholic church. But, my parents didn't go to church when I was growing up. I was the one that started going to church at 4. I was there every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, without
agree,
fail.
I'm sorry.
You're good. I literally prayed my parents into church. I prayed my uncles into church, and my mom's sister into church. And power of prayer works. But,
Yes, it does.
The last, as a matter of fact, I'm still a member of this church, even though I don't attend no more. That's where my
Right.
letter of intent is. But the last time I went, I took my daughter and my son-in-law to the church with me. I wanted to introduce my son-in-law to my church family.
Yes, ma'am.
And okay, I get, the church's thoughts on, I'm trying to figure out how to put this, on homosexuality. We'll go that route with it.
All right.
But okay, my son-in-law he was born with a medical, would you call that a medical condition, Tiger?
I don't know, what is it?
Yeah, I don't have enough information to make an educated guess.
He was born with both a male and a female reproductive.
Yes, that is.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you would
he
say
was a hermaphrodite.
yes,
Yeah.
hermaphroditic, and that is more common than most people think.
Yes.
Exactly. And, and I took him to church. Well, my first cousin, who is gay, played the piano, was one of the deacons of the church, went and told the pastor and everybody in the congregation that my daughter and my son-in-law were a lesbian couple. So basically, the whole church shunned my daughter and my son-in-law.
Yes, that's not right. And okay, so I'm not trying to interrupt your train of thought, but yes, That is exactly what I was saying. Man-made, anything that is controlled or ruled by man is, I'm sorry, it is open to greed for money and power and all that stuff. And I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what religion you are. It's all about, number one, man-made religion, in my personal opinion, was developed to control people. You
Right.
control them by fear of
Right.
what's going to happen to them if you don't do this and blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you think back, way back in early Christianity, like not the very beginning, but like when our forefathers and all came over here, all they preached was you're going to burn in hell and blah, 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 you know, fire and brimstone. And people were afraid to not go to church and not give money to the church and not support whatever their reverend or pastor or bishop or
Right.
anything said. You know, they had to follow that. They had to give them money, do that, do whatever they said, or you would be ostracized.
Right.
The Scarlet Letter
Right.
was a true thing back then.
And it's not just a couple of people, it's mass groups of people on purpose, like hundreds of thousands of groups or of people. Oh, let's this religion, and same thing over here, all with the same goal, because they're all collecting money, and
Yep.
they all make you feel like you have to give even though you don't even know what you're giving for. And I'm not bashing churches.
I'm not either.
I'm so
not.
passionate about this part of it. Like, that's why I've been sitting here quiet, because I'm so passionate and I'm so set in my ways now after what I've researched and how I grew up. But, I do have just so it's out there, my grandfather was a reverend for a very, very large church. A lot of people. And even as a child, going and seeing this, go on, I knew then there was something wrong.
Right.
And so even as a child, questioning stuff, and you're not getting answers, let alone it's your grandfather, let alone he's a reverend, and he's preaching to thousands of people, and you're sitting there, and I'm confused because when church is over, I go up to Grandpa and I ask him a question, and he is not giving me, he's not fixing what's you know what I mean.
He's
I'm
not giving you a
answers.
straightforward, understandable answer.
And he's looking at me like you're a little girl, and I kind of like he's looking at me like I'm shocked. So I knew, I don't know if it's how I am. I knew then. So I've always questioned, and then I went and researched all kinds of different religions and why people are in the. I have done all that.
Yeah, me too.
But it all led me, to where I am now and what I choose and what I believe in that. But
Right.
I never
And
understood
when you
why
and
you
when
have
you
to pay to go to a church or feel like you had to give money,
Heidi,
because I didn't understand that. I just never understood. People don't
I
have.
agree with you, Oz. I agree with
right,
you 100%.
and when you've been
However,
inside of it,
people
it
in
gives you a,
general,
it gives you a whole new perspective as well. When you've been inside of all these things,
yeah,
and I do though want to go back to uh, what Peach was asking, because to me, from what I've seen and what I've found, and the words that I have gone back to and looked up that go beyond that, it wasn't even homosexuality that they were talking about. What they despised was pedophilia. That's what they despised. That's what should be, that's what originally they despised so much that
Yeah.
they forbade it back then. Um, and then somehow it switched to homosexuality.
Right.
But
And
then you
I'm
find
playing.
out that a lot of these religious groups, people are getting in trouble for said things like that. So
Right.
not a coincidence, just throwing it out there. I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah. Oh no. That's not anything what any of us are saying at all. Us.
No,
We're
at
not
all.
writing
Not
off.
at all.
No.
People can believe whatever they want to believe, but we also, have our own beliefs because of what we've been through, what we've seen, where we've
Oh, right.
been.
Yeah, no. You can't write off the church.
My
The
whole
people.
thing is, look, people are fallible.
Yes.
So, and people are who run the churches or the religions today. And I'm not saying there's not good people in every religion. What I'm saying is, as a whole, if man controls it, they're doing it. It's just like politics, guys, for real.
Right.
Okay, you put people in power, power corrupts. Because you get power, you want more. They get greedy. And I'm
Right.
not saying they're all that way. I'm saying that is a human failing.
And to me that is politics. And to go back to the Illuminati thing, think about, I don't know how many of you know this about that, the illuminated ones, whatever conspiracy theorist thing you want to get into. There was a courier in 1785 for them who was struck by lightning, and that courier was killed. Now that courier was carrying papers, and so the Bavarian government got hold of those papers and raided the headquarters. In case you all didn't know, they did raid their headquarters.
Okay.
They then did go underground, and many countries, churches, uh, they all thought that they were not a threat anymore, um, because that's what they were told. So they didn't understand that when you go underground, that doesn't mean they're going away forever. Um, and a lot of their aims, what were their aims? We didn't quite talk about the exact aims of this organization.
Right.
And their aims, some of their aims would be the abolition of all governments, what's happening now, the abolition of all private property. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to pass? Why did they make some of these laws the way they did? The abolition of inheritance, that's something else that's going on right now. The abolition of patriotism, the abolition of family life, marriage, and communal education of children, the abolition of religion. And in addition to these, the order conceived what? So they have there's this order within them, and it's like a ranking, I guess you would say.
Right.
And so they're sworn to secrecy, of course, and blah blah blah, all that stuff. And so we know through history as well that there were certain people, such as Captain Morgan. Do you know Captain Morgan? In 1826, he was the first executed by them for opposing their plan. Um, and do you remember, some of you who do know this, he was detongued, disemboweled, and then
Oh my
mutilated.
God.
Yes, for because he did not go along with their plan. And then when you look at these things in history, and you look on the fear on the faces of the people who, whether knowing or unknowingly, aligned themselves with some of these people, and you look at their faces now and you see the terror on their faces, now you know why.
Mhm. And Hoslander, to that comment right there, I have to say I wish worse on them. I'm sorry. I think
My
that
personal belief is anybody that hurts a child or anybody innocent, because there's so many adults now that never outgrew childhood because of whatever ailment. Whatever has been done to them should be done to their attackers repeatedly until they die. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I totally believe in revenge and torture. Oops.
so do I, especially when it comes to children and the elderly.
Yeah. Or anything that cannot defend themselves, even animals.
Absolutely.
God put us on this earth to be stewards of our planet, to take care of it. And while I'm not like preaching hug a tree and screw humanity, what I'm saying is we're supposed to be living in harmony with these things, not destroying them. So, children, elderly, animals, it doesn't matter. If it's something that is innocent and it's our responsibility to care for those things. And people don't do that anymore.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay. I do have a question for panel and chat. I like. Okay. What was it, a month, maybe 2 months ago, in my lovely home state of Georgia, we had a place roughly 40, 45 miles outside of Atlanta. Something like that. Anyway, it's outside of Atlanta, a little place called Eatonton, Georgia.
Okay.
They had these they called the mini Stonehenge. We know there was several different languages represented.
Oh, okay. I'm
English.
sorry, I was lost for a minute. Yeah, right. I was lost too. I was like, wait a minute.
Like, I was totally lost. I'm like, okay.
I think you're good. I think we get it now. Okay. So
you go,
okay.
it.
So what exactly again? What is the
What about them?
Yeah.
Okay. They were a man by the name of R.C. Christensen, or at least
Right.
that's what has been stated. Had them constructed, put in the field, whatnot.
Right.
Do you think that there is a possibility that this particular group, or the elites, as I tend to call them, had a hand in them being constructed and raised?
Oh, I'm sure.
I think somebody, at the very least, connected to that. Yes. They would have to have knowledge of those languages that were put on top that other people didn't see, because there were languages up there that other people didn't see unless you were up on the top of it. And there are a lot of things that oh my gosh. I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but
there were so many things in that were against everything that anybody who believes in God a believer, would ever believe. They would never believe that's not the stuff that was taught to us through the Bible, or even through other books out of the Bible that most people don't ever read. And nowhere in the Bible does it ever say to depopulate people. That is murder. Depopulation is a polite term to say murder.
Exactly. Stop.
The Bible said, go forth and be fruitful. It didn't say, oh, kill each other off if you get over this amount of people in the world. Ever. So,
Stars, what's your take on it?
I don't have a comment.
oh, you got one. You just don't want to share it. I know better.
I just can't think how to word anything. And
Well, you know, the same could be asked of DIA. You know, what do people think of that? Why were the murals put up and taken down several times? And there are even some that some people haven't seen or really paid attention to.
Right.
And if you do look at those, and if you have paid attention to those, you will not, at first glance, you will have a lot of assumptions. But
Right.
once you actually look at them, you will realize it is not what you originally thought you were looking at.
Correct.
There is one where you will think you are looking at a Nazi, where in reality, if you look at the uniform that person is wearing, you will realize he is someone else, something different, and wearing a different uniform. So you really have to look at some of these things to get it, not assume that you know what you're looking at just by a glance.
Right. The thing
right,
is,
if they thought
people-
everybody was going to see it for what it really is, and it really is, they wouldn't do that. Because
right.
we all stand there and be like, oh my gosh, oh my. So yeah, that's part of them putting their karma out there. They put it out there
that's
in ways like that,
deception.
and then you take it for what you think it stands for.
They want to deceive you into believing whatever they're doing. And Mad Chad, I don't know why, Georgia. My whole thing for that would be in a more prominent place, they might have garnered more interest than they wanted to at that particular time.
Well, there's that, but it is also rumored that the reason why it was put there is because it was a topographical perfect place. Didn't have to worry about didn't have to worry about hurricanes. You know, not a lot of big storms goes through there. You know, all kinds of stuff like that.
And then another reason might have just been because depending on whatever religion they were following, there's ley lines, there's PowerPoints in the world, and anybody who doesn't believe that is a friggin' idiot. Sorry if I offended anybody.
Right.
There's totally PowerPoints on this earth. That might have been one. I don't know. Why did they put the headstone up in where they did?
Right.
Because it was a PowerPoint on the earth.
What about Easter Island?
Right. I mean, there's all kinds of things we don't even know. The thing is, I don't even know how to express this without ticking people off.
There is a reason why even pirates back in the day were demonized. They were not what you think if you actually look into it.
Right.
They were considered something different than what you probably think.
They romanticized it nowadays.
Exactly. I wanted to bring this up again, and I know I had before, and a lot of people didn't know, and I
I
know there
get
are
that.
still some people who don't know what I'm talking about, but it's manga or anime. And why I'm bringing this up is because there's one called One Piece, and the this manga or
I'll be
anime
proud
deals
of.
that deals with the one world government and the things that have happened in the past and things that are happening now. And in case a lot of you don't know, the UN at one point tried to get that from. They wanted to stop that manga from being put out there for a reason. If you actually look and see what is happening in that anime or manga, you will understand why. You will then start to see it. But there are a lot of people who look at these. I think why they decided to just leave it was because they probably figured nobody would get it, and most people would see it as nothing but a cartoon, so to speak.
Right, or an
But there's
oddity.
right. So, but they, once you realize, why would the UN want something like that gone?
Right. Hey, fish sticks.
I think Oz is trying to make me an honorary Australian, which is awesome.
And I don't mean no disrespect, but I have to stay away from Australian men because the accent.
One of my best friends was a lady that was married to a friend of ours, and she was from Australia, and she was the coolest chick I ever met in my life. So,
Oh, thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
Flander. We
I
love
missed
you,
ya.
and I'm glad you came in, and you're always
Yeah.
welcome. And like I said, if you ever want to do that live, just shoot me an email and let me know when, and we'll set it up.
Yeah, that was
I'd
really,
love
really
to have you
yeah.
up on panel.
That would be awesome to have. Awesome to have Oz. Jesus, that's like a tongue twister. Up on panel. I would love to actually converse with him. In chat, or not in chat, on panel.
Right.
Yeah, I must be from Australia then, dude, because yeah, that's me. I have no filter.
um,
Yeah, we're gonna have to work that out with you, Oz. That would be so amazing.
Absolutely. Hey, Miss Hutch, how are you, hon? Good to see you.
Mrs. Hutch, hello.
Hello,
Y'all,
Miss
she's the
Hutch.
coolest lady.
hello,
Just so you
Mrs.
know.
Hutch.
Ain't she though?
Happy Wednesday. Look, I was
Absolutely,
thinking
Ross. Absolutely.
about the structure things because my thoughts are not good tonight. Like, I'm not doing good with that. But, like,
Girl, you were on a roll earlier till I got up here. What the hell?
I don't know. It's
I'm your
you. I know it's
kryptonite or
you.
what?
I don't know. But, like, all these structures that are out there, whether it be the guide stones or temples, whatever they are. All these things, they're either pictures, the murals, everything. They're there either to show us or tell us something, or they're there because it's their toys. That's how I look at it.
My whole thing is
they need it for stuff.
people are lazy. Somebody's canning or something. What the hell is that noise?
There was a sink. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Damn it.
So there goes my mind all about canning. But people are inherently lazy. They want somebody to tell them what to do, how to feel, what to think. And they don't question it enough. They need to. About any religion. which is, like I said, I was raised Catholic with a little bit of Episcopalian thrown up in there occasionally. I am not either any longer. I'm actually, I don't have a religion. Straight up. I'm gonna put it like that. I am a follower of God and Christ. Like I don't go to church. And not because I think it's a bad thing as it's supposed to be, but because people run that stuff. And there is enough bad people out there. Y'all, I don't trust people anymore. That's my thing. I don't. I've seen too much. I've seen, oh my God, we went to it might have been a Baptist. I'm not sure what kind of religion it was, but my dad drugged me and my husband at the time and my children. And we went like many, many Sundays. And then they decided to pray for my family. Why, I don't know. But okay, they have us all up there. And this one dude's supposed to be speaking in tongues. Okay, number one, I know that the Bible says if someone is speaking in tongues, there will be an interpreter there to translate it for you. And number two, why would you want to laugh if the Spirit of God is in the building causing someone to speak in tongues? And I quit. I'm like, Dad, I'm not going back there ever again. And I told the preacher that too. And I liked that man. And he wasn't the one that was doing it. But I'm like, dude, that was the phoniest stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Gibberish. But the original meaning of speaking in tongues meant other languages. And that's why you would have an interpreter there. But then
Right.
somewhere along the line, it changed, and then it became gibberish. And I think that's
Amen.
why there were a lot of people who started to fall away from it because they saw what was happening.
David, I don't believe if someone was speaking in tongues with the Holy Spirit to praying over your family, that you would want to laugh at them.
No.
I don't even know what holy laughter would be, but I'm saying no, you would not. Like, it's all I could do not to like say, you are the most fraudulent person I've ever heard in my life. But for my parents, I shut up because I respected my mom and dad. So, like, I never ever went back. And actually, I don't believe my dad did either after that. God, I don't believe that God or whatever being you believe is supreme, whatever name you give him, would ever move in that way. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to let that one go because, yeah, probably shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry.
Well, no,
No,
that's okay.
you
Well,
did.
there are a lot of things that this goes deep, and there is a lot of things that connect all these things together. And let's see, how do I put this? There are a lot of things that happened back then in history. Hi, sweetie pie. Sorry, my kids walked in.
You're good.
But there are a lot of things back then in history. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Oh,
You're good.
girl, I can't even go through that whole spiel again because I don't know what.
Oh my gosh.
The three of who, Peach?
Oh my gosh. But if you do search some of these things, there are reasons why people, I mean, people get very, there are a lot of sensitive people about what they believe and what they do not believe, no matter
Agreed.
what side of it you're on. And there are many, 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 many sides.
Yes, ma'am.
And once you find some of these things, there are purposely some things in history that were purposely made and
Fawn.
put and done the way that they were, so that you cannot talk about them, or you're damned. Like, seriously, everybody will jump on you, and you're
Oh, I
damned
know.
for finding or for trying to put out the truth.
Yep. My family did that to me for a minute, which we don't have any issues anymore because we reconciled those, but allows the mind to account. Okay,
That's true.
Mad Chad, I agree with you, but according to the Bible, speaking in tongues, if someone is speaking in tongues, that is another language, like a biblical language. I don't know, but there is always an interpreter there,
Hmm.
so that you can the people can understand what has been said. It is not just somebody up there going Kandoroko Shandai, blah 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 blah. I mean, I'm sorry.
Mad Chat, I don't think I have your email.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
think.
think don't you have your email on
In my
your,
about. Yeah, in my about section.
yeah.
Say what
Fun
again?
said some-
Kandoroko Shandai? That's what we used to call it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like Tiger said in the Bible, it does say that if someone in a church or anywhere for that matter starts speaking in tongues, that they will that God will provide a
An interpreter.
interpreter. Mm-hmm. All right, Mad Chat, I got you. Thank you, sir.
And we have to
Oh,
remember as well that there are many versions of the Bible. Just one word in a sentence can change the whole meaning of
amen.
something. And
They
and I have,
interpreted that their way.
exactly, and I have many of them. People think that I'm very religious because of that, but they don't understand that I studied with these various religions. Um, I was a part of a lot of these churches. I was in Catholicism and Lutheranism and Presbyterianism and Baptism. Um,
That sounds
um,
like
different,
somebody's dunking you.
as well as as well as different types, because there's also, like, free will Baptists as well, you know
Right.
things like
Oh,
that.
there's many
And
different versions of
exactly,
Baptist.
I was in
I'm back.
paganism.
Me
I'm a
I
too.
was, right.
Baptist.
I was
I'll tell you straight up, y'all, and you can hate me if you want. I practiced Wiccan as a religion for many years after my mom died.
hmm
So, I mean,
oh no, I was inside of
I've
that too.
studied and been a part of many religions.
Yes, Wicca, paganism. um there's quite a few. And there's a reason. I think Matt Chad even kind of understands and knows some of that about me, because I'll say things to him that most people don't understand or realize why I'm saying that.
Right.
And really, it's just a simple grading, or whatever. And there's when you get in Mithraism, some of these older religions as well.
Right.
Um, there's there are many oh my gosh, there are many differences. There are such as, okay, let's take Luciferianism and witchcraft are
Okay.
totally different things. A lot of people
Yes.
don't realize that they are totally different things. One was bastardized by the churches in Christianity, and the other one is actually there's a reason why a lot of people follow this. The other one is worship of the self. And think about that.
Oh, where'd Strong's
A
go?
lot of people worship themselves and worship
More than
money
they
and
know.
yep, and things like that. Uh, yep, that is a thing.
That's called hedonism, y'all.
Hey, and welcome, Mad Shad.
Stars.
Come back,
Where'd
stars.
she go?
Stars.
Stars.
Okay. Hey, Peach, look at our chat.
Oh, it's too late, Pepper Cowboy. We've gone there. I can go much, much, much further, but that's we're sort of keeping to. I kind of want to keep to the topic, but there is a lot. You see these symbolisms everywhere. It is all really connected in different ways. Like I was saying, Janus is a Fortune 500 company. What is Janus? Does anybody know who Janus was? I do.
I'm sorry, I was reading something else.
Janus was a two-faced god.
Oh.
And you know how you see that double-headed face
Mm-hmm.
for the Janus Corporation? Now you know what that is.
Right.
I know a lot of people know who Nike was.
Right.
We see these things all over the place. They're branded on our clothes, whether it's symbolism or
Yep.
with the word. It's on our shoes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people. There are reasons why people
Harvest Moon.
it's put on these things for reasons.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. You see these things on buildings. You see these symbolisms on, like we were talking about earlier, our coinage, our dollar bills.
Yep. The pyramid.
Yeah. Has the all-seeing eye.
Right. And here's a little trivia question. Does anybody know who the Alcyon Eye belongs to?
Me. I'm just kidding, Peach.
Egyptians? I don't know. Oh, it is an Egyptian god though, but I can't think of who it is.
Chat, y'all know? No, David, not Walmart.
David, everything is not about Walmart, hon. Get over it. It'll be all right.
I was hoping to hear something from the chat.
Right. Miss Loretta, they are not the original owners of the Alcyon Eye.
No, it's Egyptian, right?
Nope. Not
It's
even
not?
then.
Okay.
You do Mad Shad who?
It's all Mad Shad.
Oh, no. Susanna,
Shad?
you want to tell them or you want me to?
Oh, well, go ahead, Peach.
The Alcyon Eye represents Lucifer.
Okay.
And that's also what a belief.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
Dave. You need to stop
So
with that.
not all people believe that. The all-seeing eye goes much further than if you look into it uh,
Hmm.
pretty deeply. It does go much further than
Yeah, it was back in like paganism times.
Yeah.
you'll see it in even Sumerian times, Akkadian times.
Aztecs, the Mayans, Egyptians, like Tiger was talking about. You know, just like Mad said, many cultures have the same thingy but different names.
Right.
And then think about what she said when, these things have happened before in history where
Hmm.
we did have a one world thing at one time. Why are the pyramids all around the world? Why do they
Right.
all why I mean they're in places where they don't even want to tell us. We know they're there, but they want to conceal them in other places.
Right. Fawn, I knew I loved you for a reason.
I
You
know.
are a woman after
I
my
had to
own
laugh
heart
about
right there.
that. I was like, hell yeah. Lord of the Rings.
Right? I mean, there, like we were saying, there's symbolisms everywhere.
Yes,
When I
ma'am.
when I first read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and they were talking about the all seeing eye,
Right.
bam, I
Yep.
automatically knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, but it was known he got his where he got his stuff. He got it from mythology and different mythologies from all around the world.
Loretta's
Um,
right about that, just so y'all know.
and what did she say?
He said, "Watch
Washington
the."
Monument is evil too, and it is Egyptian.
Hmm.
And that's the thing, is it comes down to your beliefs. And personally, there are there's a reason why I always say there is not religion is actually because there is so much, even personal religion. So
Right.
you have to remember that you do not think exactly like the next person next to you. There
A
are
hundred.
roughly as many religions as there are of you.
Right. I mean, just think about it this way. Christianity as a whole should be a religion. Why are there so many sects of it? Oh, because they're man-made.
And people
Um,
want to believe what they want to believe.
right. And
And
Chad,
so,
you're 100% right. Christianity is young in the
mhm.
grand scheme of things. Paganism ruled everything before that. And that's why you have Christmas and Easter, Ishtar, and all the symbolisms that go with these Christian holidays per se. They came off of paganism
Yes.
because they were trying to get the pagans to follow their way. They again wanted to control the people.
Here's another thought for you all. Who else uses the all-seeing eye as a symbol for what they do? As there are quite a few.
You've
Yeah,
got
I'm too
yeah.
tired to think. You'll
You've
have to
got
tell me.
you got the WEF. You've got it's all over Egyptian culture.
Yes.
Um,
We have it on the
mine,
back of our dollar bill, for
yeah,
Christ's sake.
mine,
I mean,
Aztec, the well, that's part of the WEF is the money. Uh, and I had it in my head. Go ahead,
you're right,
Susanna.
Dad.
Are you sure, Peach?
Yeah.
So there are places like the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. We all know what that is. It's DARPA.
Right.
Hmm.
And think about what they do and what they've been doing.
Yep. Absolutely. They want us to, yeah. They
Yeah.
want us to look at them as gods.
David, I'm going to say this about what you just said. Um, People want to believe in something higher, in an afterlife. It's in all of our history. Every culture's history has an afterlife. It has a higher being. People need that. And you know what? I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm just saying that people need that to make their life make sense.
Hmm.
So,
And so the Eye of Horus was similar.
right.
It
See,
was
that's why I
used
kept
as
saying Egyptian.
right. It was also used as the symbol of God's sovereignty and omniscience.
Mm.
You know, it was everywhere. But think about that. Who put that there? Who put that in those places? Who told us these things long ago in all these aspects of our lives? What are we willing to and to not believe? Why were we told we couldn't learn how to read back in the day? Now they want to do it again.
Yeah.
And they're slowly taking some of these things away, such as history.
Hmm.
They're teaching your kids to be lazy. They're teaching your kids a lot of these things. There's this whole generation that can't that don't want to learn history because they feel it's unnecessary, as well as cursive handwriting because they were told it's unnecessary. And so, how are they supposed to then really know what documents back in the day said? How are they supposed to know what their relatives wrote down in cursive? How are they supposed to know, these things? They don't want them to know. They don't want them to remember. There are things being taken away from us, obviously, for their own nefarious reasons.
Hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, like, I
Absolutely.
just wonder how many people in the chat know that there was a council of religions at the time to decide what went into. I'm sorry, I was reading chat at the same time. What went into the Bible? Like they left many books out.
Hmm.
Oh, yes, and they
Many
met
books.
quite a few times to do that. And they're actually, I've heard rumors of that happening again to change certain words so that it's slowly becoming, will become
More
something different
politicized.
again. And they've done this throughout history with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, the last one was the Council of Hippo in Nicaea or something like that.
Right.
Hmm. Everybody went quiet.
No, I was reading what David said.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. And and
No.
it's funny. And there's another thing. When the Dead Sea Scrolls came here and
Right.
we went to go see them, if you actually pay attention to what's in them, a light bulb goes off. there are certain people you would expect to be much nicer of a certain religion who were very prejudiced.
Right.
And you can't say anything because, again, what happens?
Right.
You be damned
bad.
because you're taught that. You're taught that. And so it was a very interesting experience.
Right.
When you actually see and understand what's in them, actually looking at them, you start to realize that even what you've been told with some of these things aren't exactly what they're telling you.
Mhm.
You start to
Exactly.
realize that you've been had.
Well, and
You've
that's
been
what I've been
fooled.
saying. They've been erasing our history since day one.
Mhm.
They only want you to know what they want you to know.
Exactly.
And it's for a reason. Because, again, control.
Mhm.
You do not listen. I have not been in a church for decades. And there's a reason why. Because I don't trust somebody else to interpret something that I don't feel is right. So that's not said right. I don't trust their interpretation necessarily. Not saying they're all wrong, just saying that people who are in control of this stuff want
Mhm.
you to believe what they want you to believe. They only want to put
Mhm.
out what they want to put out, and that is not the way it was meant to be.
Right. There is a reason why people are trying to tell you, look, do your research, go look, because what you have been taught is
I
not
love
always what is not always what happened or is not always true. Who
right,
sometimes even in history, who you believe were madmen were not actually madmen. Um, the way that you thought they were. They weren't the
right.
people who you thought they were. Propaganda has been around for a very, 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 very long time.
Since
Exactly.
man had a brain to think it up, I promise you.
Mhm.
You're right, man, Chad. 100%. King James did change things to fit his dialect, just like
Mhm.
every man-made religion did. I'm just going to harp on this. I'm sorry. It's like I believe in God, I believe in Christ. I don't believe in man-made religion.
No.
I don't believe you have to go to church to be saved or anything like that. I believe that God already knows what's in your heart. Obviously, He made it. So I don't believe you need all that extra stuff. I've had I like Susanna, I researched and been a part of many different religions. And my thing is that I don't need to go to church as we see it today.
No.
I just need to pay homage to who it's due to. So that's me.
Okay. Another thing, when most people mention the word church, the first thing that pops in their head is what?
Getting dressed up in your Sunday finest and going to church. Mine.
Most people think about a building
Right.
or,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
right, or a tent. But the Bible says that the church are the believers.
The Bible
Nowhere,
says where two or three gather,
Mhm.
there will I be.
Exactly. You know, so that's something else to take in mind. That's like my dad's a deacon of his church. You know, my stepmom's heavily involved in children's church. You know, treasury, secretary. You know, this, that, and the other. Anytime they need her to do something, she does it. Well, they all the time quoting at me, "You're supposed to go to church if you call yourself a Christian."
Right.
I turn it right back on. The Bible says, "Where two or more are gathered in my name, there I shall be."
Yes, ma'am.
And they say, "Well, you're the only one in your house that calls themselves a Christian." I said, "You've got me, you've got Jesus, and you got God."
My whole thing with Christianity as a whole,
Mhm.
the religion, not Jesus, is
Mhm.
that they preach so much about be good to other people, blah 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 blah, do this, do that, and they go to church and you get saved and you're okay until next Sunday.
Mm.
So you can do whatever the hell you want, be as evil as you want Monday through Saturday, but on Sunday, hey, you're going to go and absolve your sins. And that's a fallacy.
All
And
right.
here's
God only absolves your sins if you are truly repentant and you're trying to change. You don't just get a free pass to be evil Monday through Saturday.
here's something a lot of people don't know about me as well. I was a Sunday school teacher for a few years, both in the Catholic school as well as the Methodist church.
Mhm.
And some of the differences there even are a lot bigger than the differences between Catholicism and Lutheranism. And I think the biggest difference between Catholicism and Lutheranism would be what a lot of people are talking about right now in chat, as well as up here, would be the idolatry or the idols.
Right.
Um, and there are some that allow even a figure of a cross, and others that don't allow anything at all. But Methodists, if you don't even know anything about Methodists, are also, a lot of people don't know this, but they're depending on what Methodist church you go to, they are also heavily intertwined with Judaism as well.
Yep.
So you will go in there learning. You will learn how to speak Judaism, Jewish quick, because you will start to sing their songs and a lot of stuff like that, which I did on Sundays.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I know some of them. Who knows? Here's one. Shalom Havarim. Shalom Havarim. La hitra. Shalom. Shalom.
Right.
I mean, of course, there's a lot more to that song, but you quickly find out that there's a lot of people in a lot of different denominations in different places who do things very differently from one another. If you've never been in a Lutheran church, you do not also know that there are, let's say, because the schools I went to were Missouri Synod, most
Mhm.
of them are Missouri Synod. The ones that are not Missouri Synod tend to do the whole, when they're in church and they all raise their hands and scream and shout and whatever. But the ones in the Missouri Synod, they don't do that.
Right.
Mhm.
They will not do that. So, just because you went to this church, they're not, you have to remember, they are not all the same. They do not all worship the same way. They just don't.
Right.
Right. But all right, we're right at 3 hours. You guys got
Jesus.
anything y'all want to say?
I'm tired.
I still have about 6 hours worth, Peach.
Oh, we
I
all
could
come
go
back
on
and do
all
it
night.
again. We all come back and do it again next week. Sound good?
Yeah. And
Because they
Loretta and Mad Shad are totally having a battle about Mary Magdalene and Jesus.
yeah, yeah, I'm trying not to read that because that's a very, very sensitive subject with me right there.
I'm
And
just
I mean,
saying, listen, y'all, everybody's got to understand that everybody's belief is important to them.
right,
It is not for anybody else to interpret. That's between them and God or whatever being higher power that they choose. So we're all going to agree to disagree.
right. I mean, interpretation is what one believes. The way they see it, the way they objectify it.
What feels best in your heart is true for you.
Right.
And that's the truth right there. There's many, many religions in this world, like more than I can count. I don't have that many fingers or toes. So I'm just saying, if it is true for somebody, just let it be. Let it be. It doesn't matter that it's not true for you. You believe what you believe. They'll believe what they believe. It's not worth a friggin' argument.
And Loretta, yes. In fact, my mother-in-law has one, very old, and they are very different. If you look at the words in there and the way that it's
Yep.
worded, and the older Bibles are very, very different than the ones today. Much, much different.
Yes, they are.
Right. All right. Anything else, guys?
No, remember everybody, I'm going live tomorrow at 5.
That's right. 5 Central.
Yes,
4
ma'am.
Mountain
The only
Time.
time zone that matters.
And 6 in the only time that matters.
No, they both cannot matter, honey.
But all right, guys, I'm gonna replay the intro that I had, and I'm gonna let it play for a little bit longer and let the music take us out because I happen to like this song.
Okay, I love you all, and thank you so much for coming, and thank you for having me up here.
Always, always, and you're welcome to come back and join us next week too when we continue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me too. Even though I was late because I fell asleep on my concrete porch. Thank you.
You're welcome. I told him, I said she probably fell asleep.
I did, girl. I was trying so hard to stay awake.
And just one more thought. Stars, wherever you are, we love you, and thank you for coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Stars is my girl.
Right. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the world, baby boy. I'll paint you red and white and blue. The indoctrination starts as soon as you come out the womb. Pretty quick, we'll make you stupid with curriculums at school. And if the classroom doesn't do the trick, we'll make you watch the news. Pick your team, right or left, take the red pill or the blue. You can vote, but even if you win, still everyone will lose. Don't forget to buy designer because Gucci makes you cool. We prioritize material belongings over truth. Get a job that you can't stand so you can buy some cans of food. Go overseas and die for freedom, there's some oil we can use. Our democracy exists so that you think that you can choose. But our algorithms make you do what we want you to do. What's the problem? You're depressed, society has you confused. We got medication for you that you'll probably abuse. Go get married to a lady who also don't have a clue, and pump out a few few babies that are just the same as you. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here